Okay, I'll tell you the backstory of how we got here. In 2007, I was asked by the AAW to attend a show in New York City called Genuine Japan. In that show were 6 turners from Japan. One of them, or all of them, were Japanese national treasures. The work that I saw there was incredible. And this is the catalog from just one of the Woodturners. And I'll pass this around so you can see. Don't forget, this is the front of the book, not this side. So you can take a look at that. At these tea caddies, there are some photographs, loose photographs in the back of that book that show some of the pieces that I saw there. The pieces that I saw there were going for thousands of dollars a piece, some of them for tens of thousands of dollars a piece. There was an apprenticed woodturner, a female apprenticed woodturner there, and I could afford $100 to buy one of her bowls. And this is finished with Urushi. It's, I don't know, the wood. It looks like maple to me, but usually they turn with this kind of wood, kayaki. Kayaki is a lot like elm. It's a lot like ash. It's exactly like Zelkova. So this is one of the bowls that I brought back from New York. At the end of the show, they had a stack of these rough turn bowls, and they're on the inside. They had a stack of about 40 bowls. I know it's a little tiny photograph. I don't know, can you see it there? Can you zoom in on it? So that's a typical stack of bowls drying in a Japanese turner's shop. Yeah. So they turn these out by the thousands. If you look closely, you'll see plate blanks, you'll see cut blanks, you'll see bowl blanks. And this show, at the end of the show, they had 40 of these blanks that they gifted to the AAW. With that, the AAW decided to give them to the POP program, Professional Outreach Program, to whoever was interested to turn one of these things. And the result of that was this show. Now, we also gave the opportunity to the visiting Japanese woodturners to select a piece to take back to Japan. The one they selected was Jack Vesey's piece here, the one on this side. Ooh, yeah. So that's all hand carved by Jack.
Is the wood naturally, is that like a 2-color finish on?
No, that's all. If you know Jack Vesey's work, he carves feathers on work. So this is what he did as his contribution. The other thing that I noticed today, when I was looking at this the other day, was Mike Lee's piece. And does everybody see the fish? Yeah. The knot is the eye of the fish. So there's one for the club library, and there's another one just to pass around. I called the AAW when I first got the idea that this show, this catalog, was done in 2007, and I thought it was about time that we did the second version of that. And my idea is that not only do we do it on a professional level, but we do it on a club level. And my thought was that if the clubs or the people in the clubs that are willing to turn a piece, we could put them in the instant gallery at Mid-Atlantic, auction them or sell them off outright for the good of that symposium. The other thing is, through this show and the connections that Alan Lacer had in Japan, we were able to bring 4 Japanese woodturners to the Portland Symposium. I'm going to say 2007-8, in that range. This year, did anybody go to Portland? No, nobody went to Portland, so nobody got to see Eko Tanaka. Okay, now we can show photographs. Show photograph one. Okay, this is Echo Tanaka turning on the lathe that the Portland Woodturners built for her demos. They use all hook tools and scrapers. The little horse or the tool rest that she's working on is made of wood. The lathe is always running at about 1,000 RPM, and it runs either forward or reverse based on foot pedals. So let's go to 2. Okay, there's the little horse. That's her tool rest. The little notch at the end is where she puts the hook tool into the rest to hold it while she sharpens with a Japanese waterstone. 3. That's the lathe. If you look at the left side of the lathe, you'll see pillow blocks with belts going down to the motor. So the motor package itself is separate from the lathe so that there's no vibration transmission. And you can see in front of the stool 2 foot pedals. Next one. Those are the foot pedals that operate either forward or reverse. When they're not being stepped on, the motor is just running and the belts are slipping. Next. Okay, that's the headstock of the lathe. You'll notice that between the wood piece on the right and the green pillow block on the left, there's some masking tape. Underneath that masking tape is a steel cup chuck. What she will do, or what the traditional Japanese woodturners will do, you can't see it in this photo, but it has 6 or 7 nails sticking out of the end. And they'll hammer one of these blanks onto those nails to turn the bottom of the bowl. Let's see what we got next. Yeah, there you can see the nails in the chuck.
Were there nail holes in this?
That's just rough turn.
Oh, okay.
We have the next photo.
And what is this wood?
It's Kayaki. Zelkova.
That's the last one. 6.
Pretty dense.
Next.
The last one.
That's the last one? Okay. So, no one on the East Coast, except for me maybe, has seen the Japanese woodturners firsthand. In Portland, when they first came, one of the turners gifted me this bowl. This was a piece of ash that was a demonstration piece. And you can see the grooves on the side were made with a parting tool-like scraper. They called 1,000 swords because they would make thousands of cuts along the piece. I'm not going to pass this around, but you can come up and look at it and handle it. This is what I believe is a sake pot, or something you put your soy sauce in for pouring on your food. It's kayaki. It's been finished with urushi, inside and out. This is the plate that it came with. This is also kayaki, and finished with urushi.
What is Yorushi?
Urushi is Japanese lacquer, and it's made from the urushiol sap of a tree. It's a relative of poison ivy, so it causes a rash just like poison ivy does if you handle it with bare skin. But once it's cured, you can put soup, hot tea, anything you need in there, rice. It'll take all of that punishment and more. So that's why I'm interested in that process. It's specific, it's endemic. I can't go to Blick Art and buy urushi, or maybe I can. But it's something I'd like to learn more about. When I worked in New York City, we would go to Chinatown often. And in Chinatown, there was a store that sold bowls, Went up to the second floor, they had tables, maybe the size of this room, full of these little bowls. And I didn't have enough money to buy one of every one. So I have 3 or 4. And I'm really interested in the shape, the texture, and the color. If you look at the profile of this, there's a slight, very slight, OG molding at the very lip of this bowl. This, I like the color and the profile at the outside. So you can take a look at those.
Are these porcelain or,
Yeah, these are clay.
I mean, versus metallic? I could tell they weren't.
Yeah. Okay, so now my goal is to bring Aiko Tanaka to the East Coast. And we've been talking with the board members of the Mid-Atlantic. We've got a verbal agreement that she should come and she should demonstrate. The question then becomes, how do we afford to pay? Because you can imagine the flight from Japan is big. She doesn't speak English much. I don't speak Japanese, so I can't translate. So there's the cost of a translator, plus the cost of travel, plus the cost. She pays for her husband.
Oh,
So everything that she would need to attend the Mid-Atlantic, the cost is up in the air. So one of the things that I'm preparing for is to start rough turning the bowl blanks. And that's this is all end grain work. This is mulberry, this is hickory. And that's what we're going to do tonight, is turn one of these. Now the thought I had was that we could, in this studio, have a learn and turn session where we make these. So here's the blanks that I'm preparing out in my shop. So if anybody has a burning desire to see me rough turn this, we can. Rough turn, yay, or rough turn, nay? Yes, yes.
Are you
Okay.
going to use a hook tools and a rough turner the way they
Yes,
No,
rough.
no, I don't have. Well, they make their own turning tools. So no, I don't have those hook tools.
you
I
can
have-
use American tools.
I'm going to use American tools. Yeah. Now the tools that you see me use tonight are geared toward this size because most of the work that I do is hollowing end grain is for magic, and these are about as big as I can get with the tools you're going to see tonight. Once they get bigger than that, the tools get bigger. Okay, Glazer screw chuck. Are we plugged in?
Not quite, they're on 10-9.
That works. Okay, so Glazer screw chuck. This takes a 1/4-inch diameter drill bit to drill the pilot. If you're using a woodworm screw, I think you have to go to a 3/8 diameter drill bit. Now, if you watch Richard Raffin, he'll spin this on while the lathe is running. I don't do that. Okay, spindle roughing gouge. clever, you can catch them and then throw them in the wastebasket. So here we still got some bark. We want to get past that, I think. Oh, I did bring my handy dandy light too. 9/16 spindle gouge. Everybody get that? Flute completely closed, so the cutting edge is perfectly vertical. When you bring that into contact with the wood, it won't skate on you. If you're open slightly, it'll skate across the wood. So once I've got a shoulder to rub on, I can open the flute counterclockwise. And true up the bottom. So now we need to turn a tenon on the bottom. To fit in the chuck. So I'll bring the point of the dividers toward nearest me into contact with the wood and gauge the diameter with the other side and not bring the opposite end of the point into contact with the wood because it comes over like that. Yes, sir.
That light is so hot we can't see a thing on the surface of the wood. So I don't know if that is helping or not.
Well, it's helping me, but it's not helping you.
It's helping you. We'll suffer.
Oh, is that any better?
Yeah, that's a little better.
I think one on the Powermatic might be softer.
Pardon?
One on Powermatic behind you, I think, might be softer.
Okay, well, we'll just do without it for now. Okay, 1/8" parting tool, part down to the mark for the part down to the mark we made with the dividers. Okay, so while it's in this position, I can turn the curve at the bottom. So for the spindle gouge, bring the heel of the bevel in contact with the wood, raise the handle of the tool until the edge starts to cut, turn the flute in the direction of the cut, and make the cut. Now it's stopping there because the cut is too big for the tool, so I back off. Raise the handle of the tool and take a lighter cut.
Angelo, you refer to that as spindle gouge. How is that different from a bowl gouge?
I'll show you in a second. Okay, spindle gouge. Deep fluted bowl gouge. What are we looking at here? This camera here?
Yes.
So, deep fluted bowl gouge here,
Okay.
and the spindle gouge. Okay? I don't know, can you see that big difference there? There's a big deep flute on the bowl gouge and a shallow flute on the spindle gouge. Okay, so I'll just clean up the corner. the chuck. Okay, so I didn't bring the drill bits with me, but we can go through this step and then switch to one with holes in. For hollowing end grain, if you're aware of turning downhill and uphill of grain, everybody understands that concept? Okay, so when you're turning end grain, you're turning directly into the end grain of the wood without the benefit of having a surface to start with for rubbing your bevel. So what you need to do is drill a pilot hole. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn a little bit of a pilot hole, and I'll show you the back cut for hollowing end grain. Okay, so now I'm turning directly into the end grain, but I'm approaching the wood from the larger diameter heading to the smaller diameter. And I'm able to take a cut. Now the back cut is the hollowing cut that's done upside down. In other words, the bevel of the tool is riding on the inside of the shell rather than coming down into the hole. So it starts at the center, the bevel is rubbing at about between 12 and 2 o'clock. Now for me, I use this as a roughing cut. If anyone has watched Jacob Weissflog do this cut, he uses it as a finishing cut. But he's a better turner than I am. So the action of the tool is once you've got the handle between 12 and 2, the handle is pushed toward the headstock. And that brings the tool out in a smooth arc with the bevel rubbing. The problem with this rest, once you get that off, the tool hits back here when it needs to be able to go forward more. So we'll try to steal some. No, we won't get any more out of this.
Spin the rest around.
Pardon?
180 degrees.
Pardon?
Can you spin the rest 180 degrees?
Can I spin the rest 180 degrees? You mean like this?
Just the red.
Just rest in the banjo.
The banjo are normal, but so that you don't have the back side of the front side of the banjo.
No, it's going to put the rest too far away from the wood. No, I mean, we can try it. It's not going to work.
Another robust failure.
What's that?
Just another robust failure.
Get off your high fucking horse, it's not a robot.
It's a robust tool with rest.
This is too big.
They make a narrower one, they make a low profile one.
That's not going to fit. Okay, so that's as good as we're going to get with this.
Angelo, you have another tool rest back there.
Oh, this is the Delta tool rest.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong.
Is that the right diameter is all I'm asking?
Oh, probably, yeah. Looks like it. Yeah, that'll work, maybe.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
Too big.
we'll just carry on.
Thank you.
Okay, the one thing I did want to show you is what I forgot to do with this one. This is an end grain bowl. And to say that end grain bowls don't warp is a misnomer. Okay, so you saw the back cut. We've got two more tools to show, and that'll be it. I have a Martel hook tool, but I didn't have the time to make the shank for it today. The one-way ring tool works the same way as the hook tool. But if we do a class here with hollowing these bowls, by the way, I have about 50 of these blanks, so I'm looking for help to turn them rough. So if anybody's interested, let us know. So these, Alan Lacer will tell you these are 90-degree gouges. In other words, that they work 90 degrees from what we're used to. The bowl gouge here works this way. The hook tool or the ring tool works this way. So it works 90 degrees to what we're used to. When we're hollowing face grain, the tool goes in this manner. When we're hollowing end grain, it comes from the inside of the hole out. Does that make sense to anybody?
Is there a, does it induce a catch if both the upper and lower portions of the ring contact?
Oh, yes. But you only need to experience that.
Can you show that angle again, so I don't think people could see it?
That
Oh,
like 70
between the regular bowl gouge, yeah.
Yeah, and the hook tool, 'cause I don't
Sure.
think it's. No, we were right there. Don't go back to the other camera.
Go back, that, right there.
Thank you.
Okay, so if this were flat grain, if this were a bowl blank, you'd be using a standard bowl gouge around to your preference. And those cuts would be coming in from the outside to the inside, because you'd be turning downhill of the grain on the inside of the bowl. Don't forget.
Can you switch back to the other angle? Thank you. Leave it there, because we're trying to see what it's doing.
Okay, well, I'll try and get the angle of this gouge also.
Okay, so flat grain, when you're turning the inside of the bowl to turn downhill of the grain, you're turning from the larger diameter to the smaller diameter. On the outside of a flat grain bowl, you're turning from the smaller diameter to the larger diameter to turn downhill of the grain. Yes? Okay, so when you're hollowing end grain, your grain is this way. So to turn downhill of the grain, your tool has to come in to the wood. In other words, if you could put your tool down here without drilling a hole, you could pull that bowl that hollow out just the same as you would a bowl. But so here's the orientation of the bowl gouge on the outside of a flat grain bowl. Here's the orientation of the ring tool, hook tool, or 90-degree gouge, however you want to name it. So the handle of the tool is 90 degrees from where you're used to.
But the orientation of the face is,
Pardon?
the orientation of the face is still sort of 2 and 9.
The orientation of the face is still what?
The orientation of the face of the hook tool
Yeah.
is still 2 and 8.
Look at the way he's got it, the way that Angelo has it, his hand right there. Just hold there for a second, Angelo.
This way?
Yeah, it is 2 and 8.
Yeah, see the way he's got the handle there? The actual cutting,
The cutting edge on the bowl gouge is here.
on
The
those
cutting edge of the ring tool is there.
Yeah.
So it's cutting at a 90-degree offset to where we're normally used to turning bowl blanks. And that'll become a little bit more apparent once we start to make a cut. Okay, so on the inside of the pilot hole, we've got to get past the set screw here. So the tool comes away from the wood. Again, the nose of the hook tool is running perpendicular so that it doesn't catch. Rotate the handle of the tool until that edge starts to cut. And make that cut. Can you see that? You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so far? Okay, what else have I got to show? Okay, so that's two ways you can hollow end grain. The third way is what I call bull in a china store, where you turn directly into the end grain with a spindle gouge and hog out the bottom with a scraper. So again, we're going to take the nose of the gouge running perpendicular to the rotation of the tool. We get a catch. Everybody remembers LPs, right? So, I don't like you anymore. Okay, so try again. Ah. Okay, so turning directly into the end grain. It's not pretty, it's not going to leave you a good surface, but it's easy enough to do sometimes. Using the nose of the tool to scribe a little shoulder. Once you get the shoulder, you rub the bevel. The depth that you need. Now, the thing to notice is that I use a spindle gouge because the bevel is sharper. The spindle gouge is probably a 30-degree angle. Bowl gouge is about 40, 45. And it's all about the placement of the handle. When I rub the bevel on the inside of the pilot hole, the tool handle is here. If I take the bowl gouge and I rub the bevel, the tool handle is here. You see that? Do you care?
Would that be a good argument for a rotating head?
I don't know. I've never worked with a lathe, but that's where the handle would go. I think a good argument would be to hollow it with the proper tool. This is not the proper tool. So that's where the bowl gouge bevel points the handle, and this is where the spindle gouge points the handle. So it's a little bit more comfortable with the spindle gouge. Then using a round nose scraper.
Sorry, it's not here. Have you ever used that ring tool and tried to cut on the opposite way, like on the opposite side of the tool bowl.
Oh, you mean turning it this way?
No, the same direction, but now you're going, when you went
Oh, you
around-
mean cutting it on the bottom?
Yes,
No, I've never tried that.
it works really well.
Does it?
Because what Thomas was saying about having your body, it's the way you notice that a lot of the Japanese, when you're talking about it, they're using the tool on the opposite side, on the downwards.
Yeah, but I believe the lathe is rotating the other way. Okay, let's see. I don't even like that.
That's gonna kick the lathe.
I don't even like the thought of that. Pardon?
Turn it the other way then, try it, but yeah.
So you're saying you want to take this. Yeah, that works.
Why isn't that cut trying to lift the tool?
Because I'm pushing down on it. Your rest, yeah, your arm becomes the rest. So, but if you turned it the other way. Okay, so if I turn it the other way, then the rest becomes the rest. Yeah, I think running in reverse. Running in reverse is the way to do it. So once you've gotten all of that waste wood away, and it's time to shape the bottom of the bowl, on the bottom of the bowl, semicircular. I go to a scraper. Now this is not a negative rake scraper, this is just a normal scraper, it's flat on the top. So that means I have to lift the handle in order to get a negative rake at the bottom of the hollow. Okay, so I'm at the bottom. Now I have to clean out dead center, because if I continue to push this forward, the curve on the inside of the bowl will trap the tool and give me a catch. So as I can't see center, and I can't take my weight off the end of the handle, so I have to feel for that little bump in the middle. And take it down. Well, that's good enough for a town this size, I think. So for the sake of expediency, that's what we got. Take a look.
Angelo, I missed the first part. Why do you have 50 blanks?
Why do I have what?
50 blanks.
The 50 blanks. Well, if we pass 25 out to club members to turn a bowl of their choosing, like that show, and if we can get Pop involved to turn another 25, that's 50 blanks.
No, but why?
Why? You give
I
one.
missed the first part. Why do you want 50 blanks?
Why don't I have 50 blanks?
Why do you want 50 blanks turned rough?
I have rough. Well, I want them to dry before I turn them out to other turners to turn a finished product. So if I wait until next year at this time, it'll be too late.
I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't say this loud enough at the beginning. I missed the beginning of your spiel. Are
No.
you doing a project with these 50 bowls?
Yeah. The idea is to redo, where are those little booklets?
Okay.
Is to redo that professional segment, but also have something going on for novice turners or non-professionals. The idea is that at the Mid-Atlantic, the local clubs, their bowls would go into the instant gallery for sale or for auction to raise some kind of money for Mid-Atlantic. So, that's all I got.
Wall thickness on them typically,
Wall thickness, finished or rough?
finished.
Finished. Well, if you look at that catalog, you'll see that Binpo is down to about 1/8 of an inch, so he can pierce it. That's typically where they're going. For a soup bowl, a rice bowl, a sake cup, whatever they're going to make these things into, the wood is the lowest form of expression that they have, because the true artistry comes in the urushi coating on top of that. So that core will be roughly a 1/16 to 3/32 of an inch thick, maybe a little thicker, but it's all going to get covered, and it's all going to get covered in urushi, painted with gold. You'll see some of the photographs in there. They're just phenomenal. They are just phenomenal works of art.
Yes, urushi is like a built-up lacquer.
Yeah, it's lacquer. This little bowl that we have here from The Apprentice maybe has 2 or 3 coats of urushi on it. The professionals, well, if you go onto YouTube and you type in Japanese wood turning, you'll see a guy there that does urushi vessels with no wood core at all. And he builds that up to about 1/8 of an inch thick, and he's made a vessel this big. Yeah. So once it's layer upon layer of paper, painted it, covered with urushi, that hardens, and this is not like lacquer, def lacquer where you got a rattle can, you spray it on, and seconds later it's dry. When you put the first coat of urushi on it, you put it in a dust-free environment. I believe they call it an oven, but I don't think it's heated. It just goes in that oven overnight for the urushi to harden. It has to be a specific humidity and a specific temperature. Take that out the day or two later. If there's a lot of humidity in the air, it may take a week to cure. So it's not something that you do overnight. You don't put on a little bit of padding lacquer and call it good. It takes a while. Yes, sir.
The Japanese generally use hook tools more than our gouges and everything like that.
I have seen on YouTube Japanese turners using Western tools. In fact, he has a robust lathe, and he's using regular bowl gouges and scrapers and whatnot. But a traditional wood turner like Eiko Tanaka is using hook tools. Not hook tools that they go down to craft supplies and buy. They make them.
I've noticed that with the Russians as well. They tend to use hook tools and stuff like that, and they're almost like knives on the edge with the hook on the end of them.
Yeah, they're pretty scary looking.
Yeah.
Especially their skew.
Yeah.
It looks like an arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. So once we get past the Japanese, maybe we can go to Russia and figure that out.
Angelo, I have a question about the ring tool.
Yeah, the answer is... Okay, go ahead.
Can you use that, the ring tool on the face grain? You know, regular face plate turning?
Yeah, you can, but it's not made for that.
Okay.
You're going to work harder and longer using that ring tool to try to hollow a bowl blank out. If that's what you're asking?
Yes, yeah. So it's just primarily designed for the end grain.
I believe that's true, yes.
And how are you sharpening it?
With a cone, the abrasive stone goes in the drill. It's a little cone, you just give it a couple of whirls and you're good to go. So if you look at this tool, you'll see that one side is worn down more than the other side. That's for sharpening it. So at some point, the ring will wear out and I'll have to replace it.
Do you believe that ring tool is high-speed steel or carbon steel?
I believe it's high-speed steel. It's from One Way, so it's their termite tool. I believe it's high-speed steel. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Okay.
Thanks, Angelo.
You're welcome. Thank you. Well, I mean, it's up to the club what you want to do. If you want to have a hands-on here, 2 people per laying. We can rough turn some of these rice bowls, soup bowls, sucker cups, and get a few done. If anybody's interested in having a blank to take home, to turn finish for your vision, you're welcome to take it.
Are these mini lines up to the task?
Yeah, I think so.
Just not as aggressive as you were going there.
Yeah, I was a little harsh. But that's what I'm used to doing. That's the way it goes. So if anybody wants any of these rough terrain bowls here tonight, take one home. Make it your own.
What?
Or not.
Are they all the same wood?
No,
No, this one here is
these 3 are mulberry. This is cherry. This is hickory.
What's the other diameter of those bowls?
Roughly about 5 inches, more or less.
Are they dry enough to turn to a finished wall thickness?
The hickory is, this mulberry is, these are not. These are wet still. So these need to be finished being rough turned
Right.
to a profile like this so that you have about a 3/4 inch wall all the way through to the bottom, about 3/4 of an inch. I put them in the shavings. I pack them in a brown paper bag packed with the shavings, and they sit in my shop on the floor until they dry. So these, the ones that are dry were turned probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago maybe, yeah.
And the size of that is about 5 by 5?
They're about 5 inches in diameter, roughly 4.5 inches tall. Some are getting shorter for. I didn't have this one on hand or the catalog from the show to remember what the diameter or the height was. So this is 5 inches by about 3. So that's more like the size that the typical pieces were. But there's no rules, so if you take a piece, turn what you want.
Okay, I'm gonna do my question.
Yeah.